I work at a community hospital, and there are several arrangements that the doctors have. Some of the doctors work for the hospital, and a growing number are working for the hospital. So there are contracts between the doctors and the hospital. Then we have people with exclusive contracts, and then we have people in private practice. The issue is that we have a VPMA who's also a CMO, and the medical staff is asking, who is our advocate? Of course, the president and the vice president of medical staff, which are, the vice president of medical staff, we advocate for the medical staff, but it just seems like a conflict of interest that somebody working for the hospital should be advocating for the doctors.
Yeah. There's a very, very common concern when the physicians say, who is our advocate? And it becomes tricky then, and just to get my bias out, this is just Dave's bias, okay, so you don't have to believe this, but I think you will, given your profession. My bias is that whoever advocates for the physicians needs to be a physician, okay? I mean, it was on that basis that we at USC launched the Master of Medical Management. Long time before healthcare reform, we said, look, the system is sick. If my MBA students fix it without y'all, that's going to be a real problem, okay? So we kind of get the point here. So the way that we then try to work on that is to take docs that are interested in going into these leadership and these executive roles. That's the only way, just again, Dave's bias, only way we're ever really going to fix that issue. So do you have something to? Oh, okay. The CMO is a physician. Okay.
That doesn't seem to have helped.
Oh, and that doesn't seem to have helped. Okay. So when the CMO is a physician and it doesn't seem to have helped, what often happens in systems is the CMO is a physician reporting to a VPMA that is not a physician, or a CEO that is not a physician if your system doesn't have a VPMA. And it just gets tricky. There's always going to be conflicts of interest. It's the nature of the beast. But I think you see my point. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I would like to point out any physician who's a CMO paid by the hospital is not your advocate. He's firstly advocating for the hospital, and that should be clear to all the physicians. Whether he's a physician or not is not the concern. If he's paid by the hospital, his fiduciary duty is to the hospital. He's not going to be totally your advocate. So we should be very clear when we are kind of going where there's a CMO position, that you should be very clear that it's different from MEC or your chief of staff or your elected.
This is a great discussion. I suspect that there are other things to say about that. Yes, sir.
I'm a CMO paid by the hospital.
Would you like to arm wrestle and we'll see who wins? Yes, please.
My comment is that it is possible to do both, but it requires a special person, obviously such as myself, to do that. And I think that I've been the CMO at this hospital for 17 years. And I think that the keys are to be totally honest. I've never been asked to do anything that I felt was unethical or inappropriate. I've never been asked to lie to the medical staff or try to manipulate the medical staff. And if I were, I would quit. So I think it really depends on the ethics of the individual involved and the system you're involved with. At my hospital, I think it works. I think I do advocate for the physicians all the time. I have yet to meet an administrator who really understands what being on call as a physician is like. And when they say, I don't know what they're bitching about, I tell them what they're bitching about. I'm a pediatrician. I practiced for 15 years. I would rather take probably 10 years of administrative call than 1 week of pediatric call. So I think it can be done. It's not easy, but it can be done.
Okay, thank you. And you'll notice again, this is an issue, without trying to resolve it now, that would be a perfect one to carry forward in the day, right? To see if we can resolve issues like this if we believe that there are conflicts or there's something that's not working. And I very much appreciate this. And welcome to reality television, by the way. This is great. And it's only 8 something in the morning, okay?